A sinister spirit accurately predicted the precise date of a woman's death. Why is death after a mother of three? The psychics are going to solve the mystery of an old murder. You're watching Psychics Investigate, where people with paranormal powers, who call themselves clairvoyants, investigate true criminal cases and solve unbelievable, mystical riddles. Oksana Sukhomlynova from Ukraine approached the psychics, asking for help. She's sure she knows the exact date of her death. A mysterious woman in black who keeps coming to Oksana's dreams told her it.
I can't live with it. The woman in black keeps telling me that I'll die on the 1st of November. And on top of that, she adds that it will happen at 4:30 in the afternoon.
The woman is on the verge. It's not the first time that the sinister woman in black is foretelling death in Oksana's family. She's already taken away more than 10 of her relatives.
She brings death. First, my uncle Kolya hung himself, and then Aunt Stasia jumped into the well. After that, Aunt Shura died at the dinner table, and my mother was after her. Our father simply burned in bed. There was a fire. My brother and his wife died in a car crash. I'm worried about my life because I have 3 children.
Zhana Shulikova and Olena Kurilova, 2 of the most powerful psychics in the project, agreed to help Oksana. Each of them immediately set out to meet her.
I had a vision of a beautiful young woman, but her body looked like it was pierced with some kind of spears or metal rods. And he kept asking me, release me, make me free. She's locked in some cramped space, like she's bricked up in a wall.
I'd like to take my cards and look. The cards are showing something strange. Don't touch it. You will regret.
Coincidence or not, but once the psychic pronounced these words, a severe wind blew. The cloudless sky turned black and hail started. This even appeared in the news.
A heavy downpour with strong winds and hail. The roads turned into rivers. Cars were literally floating along the streets. Apart from the rain, hail crashed on people's heads.
We can't go anywhere in such strong rain.
Somebody doesn't want us to take up the investigation.
While Olena Kurilova was being attacked by the storm, Zhana Shulikova, who was going there separately, was stopped by another obstacle. Something happened to the engine of the car in which she was.
It probably overheated. We need to wait for about half an hour for it to cool down, and then we can go.
Wait a minute. I'll be right back.
The clairvoyant went off somewhere without saying a word. Zhana explained her unusual behavior later on.
There was a woman's spirit standing there. She was angry and terrible, and her throat was all black. I realized somebody had murdered her, so I told her, "Show me who did it, and I'll help you." But she answered, "I'll find the one who murdered me myself, and I'll revenge myself. If you keep bothering me, you'll be next." I lit a candle, but it can't hold her back. We must leave. Let's go.
Meanwhile, Oksana and her daughters are waiting for the psychics in the street. When the neighbors saw the crew, they also joined.
Hello?
Hello, these are my children. Something weird has been going on. My breathing stops at night.
What I see in my cards now is that the mother will be taken away first. What scares me most is that I see the child.
Does it mean we can die before we create families and have children? I don't want it to be true.
I think we should go inside.
Once I entered the apartment, my legs went numb. It was a sign that I had to stop right there. But who gave the sign and what were their intentions?
Howl, something's howling here. What could it be? Oh, what is this? Died. You'll die too, and your children will die. I'll show you my revenge.
It's coming from the threshold.
After Olena entered, her legs were giving way constantly. That is, she couldn't step over the threshold.
Give me a knife.
And what is this? We need to get it out. Oh, it's so gross.
It was meat, like it was plucked out of a bird. It was so shocking.
100% it's a dead bird. And the earth is from a grave.
I feel pressure over here.
I can't understand who did it. Who did we hurt? How is it even possible to be so cruel?
It's a death spell. And it's not all. There were other things too.
There was a mummified bat. It emerged from nowhere.
Anything can be a death charm if you impose a negative magic program on it that would cause death, illnesses, impecuniosity, scandals, divorce, and other things. But if you use a dead creature for it, no matter if it's an animal, a bird, or an insect, then it's definitely a death charm.
It was an awful sight. That bat, a dried bat. I called a neighbor, and when she came, she suggested that I should burn it.
She did it right with the bat, and we had to destroy the next charm and understand who had been planting all those things on her apartment.
Who hates you?
I can only suspect one person.
Oh, I don't like it. The woman warned that it was revenge for ruining her family. Did you convince her husband to leave her?
I didn't convince him to leave her. He's Diana's father. I never even claimed he was mine.
It turned out that the father of Oksana's younger daughter is a married man named Oleksandr. She met him at work at the local administration. The woman was a secretary there, and the man was its legal advisor.
We started to communicate, and then one evening, he phoned me and said, "How do you like the idea of me waking up at yours tomorrow morning?" I didn't get it, but he still arrived.
Oksana knew Oleksandr had a wife and children, but she anyway allowed him to stay for the night, and then again and again. As a result, she got pregnant.
It was done deliberately. We were going to start living together. He filed for a divorce, and we planned everything carefully, but then he broke up with me and left.
Oleksandr didn't explain anything and simply broke up with the pregnant Oksana. She suspects the sudden change couldn't have happened without the magic influence of this family.
He told me that his mother and wife had put a spell to make him come back to the family.
Returning your husband to the family might be noble, but the mechanism of the spell is such that the mistress ends up cursed. I won't be surprised if the spirit that Oksana has been seeing in her dreams is the woman who is bound to her home with the charm made with the earth from the grave.
The only person I could think of is Irina. She always blamed me for ruining her family.
Could you kindly take us to where that woman lives?
After Jana Shulakova has neutralized the charm, everybody goes to the place where the father of Oksana's younger daughter lives.
We would like to talk to you, please.
Soon afterward, Oksana's lover, Oleksandr, appears in the door.
There are a bunch of deaths there.
In this family,
I know.
God forbid if your wife or somebody else from your family, like your mother-in-law or I don't know who else, has something to do with it.
Both my mother and Irina swear they didn't go anywhere or didn't do anything.
But you told me yourself that they went to see a sorceress. Didn't you tell me this?
We'd like to talk to Irina.
Oleksandr is taking a huge risk, as it's impossible to tell the consequences of the meeting of his wife and his mistress
She knew that we were married, but she still interfered in our life.
I'm aware of it.
She almost ruined our life, and now she dares to come here. I never wished anything bad to anybody, and I never hurt anyone in my life.
Then why did Uncle Alexander say that you'd been at a sorceress?
I never saw anybody.
Could it be your mother?
We didn't see her for black magic.
Then why did you go to see her?
To ask her to return the husband to his family.
And how can a sorceress return a husband to his family? You never cared about it.
The sorceress made the charm and planted it under the mistress's door. And she technically did it right. She did what her customer asked her and didn't care that it would simply kill the mistress.
The sorceress was simply a professional who did what she was asked. But her customer would be the one who bears the responsibility.
My death would give her relief. She would be relieved to know that I had finally passed away, but it wouldn't make her happy.
The thing is that he told me it wasn't his baby, and he wasn't going to return there ever in his life.
The classic scheme, the man tells his mistress one thing and his wife an entirely different thing. And now he is mute as a fish, as every word could potentially be used against him.
I think Alexander was scared himself because he had envisioned that this could happen.
The women got so heated that they dragged all the skeletons from Alexander's wardrobe.
He lives in a separate room from Irina. He doesn't sleep with her.
This is how wives find out that nobody has slept with them for the recent 5 years.
One of us hears one thing, and the other hears something absolutely different.
The cheated women go outside, while the man runs away before it gets worse.
I never wished anything bad for you, or especially your children.
It was just this text. Your kids go to school. There's a graveyard not far from yours. Watch out, or they may not return one day.
This is my sister-in-law.
Irina means Alexander's sister. She sent Oksana the texts with threats. This means that the cheated wife has nothing to do with it.
Any dirty word or every black word will influence the children's well-being.
I never wished anything bad to anybody.
Irina, he will never enter my home anymore, I promise.
The woman in black that Oksana sees in her dreams, and that's been taking away her relatives one by one, was not a dead woman bound to her home with the charm, as we'd thought earlier. But who could she be then?
The psychics decided to return to Oksana's.
And then I paid attention to the mirror. There was something inside it.
Oh dear, my God.
Oh.
Here it is. It fell out of the mirror.
Look, she's got holes in her belly.
This is insane. The photo is indeed pierced through. But who is the woman in it? And how is she connected with the tragedies in Oksana's family?
Whose mirror is this? Is it yours?
It was here when I moved in.
Who is this? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Then I recalled her. I'd seen her in the morning during the preparation for the investigation. Her body was pierced with some kind of spears, and she kept asking me, "Release me! Release me!"
As it turned out, Oksana moved into this apartment about 15 years ago. She didn't know its previous owners, and she never took an interest in who they were or what they did.
Nobody knows who she is.
The cards show me a pregnant woman dying.
I lived here. I looked into the mirror and I saw my face. My husband is wearing epaulets. It's like he was building his career. He was probably a military man since he was wearing the epaulets. And the mirror was a gift. I was given it and told to hang it.
It turned out that 30 years ago, a family without children lived in Oksana's apartment. The woman's every pregnancy ended in tragedy.
Her babies died.
He was a morale officer at the local police office.
Well, I see why she couldn't give birth. Her husband was given a good present. The mirror with her photo pierced with needles.
Considering that the man had a high rank, the motive is obvious. Envy. Black envy.
During her last pregnancy, the woman died with the baby. After that, the neighbors feared to live in the building, as they all were having nightmares.
The woman had a few disrupted pregnancies and died painfully. After her death, she couldn't go to the other world and spent 30 years locked in the mirror. Now I see why her spirit was so aggressive. We had to perform a highly dangerous ritual in order to remove the spirit of the woman locked in the mirror and break the link between her and Oksana. Only Oksana is going with us. Since you're hypersensitive, you'll see, hear, and feel everything. Anything can happen.
It was a shock. Oksana was reciting a prayer over me. I felt light warmth around my body, and then I felt a push, and Oksana and I fell on the floor.
Did you feel weakness in your arms and legs?
Were they numb?
They're still trembling.
The feelings that Oksana described told me that the prayers worked. The link with the dead woman was destroyed, and she couldn't hurt Oksana anymore.
But it turned out that during the ritual, Oksana had a vision. She saw the woman who's been tormenting her in her nightmares, and she saw her face clearly. And it wasn't the apartment's ex-owner from the photo. It was a different woman.
I heard the voice. It was calling me. Oksana! Oksana! I opened my eyes and saw a white woman with fair hair. She was dressed in a long gown with a pattern of orange flowers on it.
The woman in black and the woman in orange are both the same spirit, and I had seen it that morning, on the outskirts, not far from the garages.
Why does she sometimes come dressed in black?
A spirit, by the way, can appear in the clothes in which a person was buried, or in which they were at the moment of death. In this case, the woman seemed to have been buried in black, but she died wearing orange, as Oksana described.
But who is this woman, and why is she seeking revenge on Oksana? Where can she be found, and how can she be stopped?
I've been there. I left my candle there. I'll find the place.
The psychics are going to the site where Jana Shulikova stopped earlier this morning.
Oh, here it is.
Once we arrived there, the woman that Oksana has been seeing in her dreams, and that's been saying she'd die on the 1st of November, emerged. She began talking to me. Mariana, is that you? She told me. Dad.
Is Mariana's father a murderer?
Yes.
The tragedy occurred when Mariana was little. Her father, Sergei, strangled the woman, who came to give him her shoes to repair.
He made shoes and repaired them. When the woman came to him, they had a quarrel, and he strangled her.
This is the place where she died. She has 2 children left.
I don't know her.
She's mad. She's so mad. She's furious at the man. He's guilty, but I see he's taken legal responsibility for it.
I was 13 when he was released from prison. Now he has a new family and a new daughter. I never talked to him after that.
But if Oksana's husband has already been punished, then why does the murdered woman's spirit keep seeking revenge, and not on her murderer, but on his wife and children?
You're not a murderer, but you're a witness. More so, you're an idle witness.
He came home and told me he'd murdered somebody. He was drunk, and he went to sleep immediately. I waited until the morning. What else could I do?
Why didn't you call the police?
Had Oksana called the police immediately, the woman could have probably been saved.
She was alive at that moment. She was in a coma.
It was late at night. I had a little baby. I didn't know if those things he had told me were true or not. I thought he was hallucinating because he'd been drinking heavily those days. And only when he was taken by the police did I learn the truth.
It turned out that the police only found the murderer a week into the investigation. Oksana had been silent about his crime, so the victim sees her as his accomplice.
It happened in November.
This is why she's been mentioning the date.
My husband killed her on the 1st of November because he was arrested on the 8th.
The dead woman told Oksana the date on purpose. The spirit wanted her to know of her suffering.
Now I see the problem. But how can we solve it?
Jana, can I have your candle? Look at the flame and repeat after me. In the name of the Lord.
In the name of the Lord.
The psychics and Oksana were praying for a long time, asking the supreme forces to stop the woman from the world of the dead, from going to the world of the living.
I am deeply sorry you couldn't raise your children. Please don't take revenge on me.
You're going to be fine. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for helping me.
Sometime later, after the 1st of November, Oksana called us to share the good news. Her family was finally doing great.
Thank God I'm alive and it's all over.
Do you still see the woman in black in your dreams?
No, I don't see her anymore. Thank God things got back to normal.
It is not without reason that say that inaction and indifference are sinful. Because of her idleness, the woman inflicted misery on herself and her family. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more incredible stories are ahead.